On this episode of Star Trek Universe, we are discussing Picard 309 Vox, right after these words from our mystery sponsors.
Welcome to Star Trek Universe, the podcast where you get to listen in on two lifelong friends chatting about Star Trek. My name is Matthew Carroll.
I am David C. Robertson, and man, did you see that shit?
The episode, you mean?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I did. I'm glad to hear you giggling giddy about it, because I think it was really wonderful.
Yeah. I was
glad.
A little concerned, because usually the more excited I am, the more like you didn't like it for some reason.
No, I had no issues with this. It was really great. I definitely I don't know. The thing that has me feeling a certain way about the episode is watching that they're on the Enterprise D. You know, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool to see them standing on that bridge, joking about the carpet, and I don't know, it's so cool. But here's the thing that bothers me. I don't think we're going to see the rest of the ship because they have painstakingly gone to all kinds of lengths to perfectly recreate that bridge. I'm assuming. I'm sure people online are probably like, the knobs are different on the whatever, but I don't know. They just really did a great job.
I don't think it is. They took the great pains to show us the consoles as they ran their hand over it and whatnot.
Yeah, it's those are season 3 consoles. I don't know. So I'm sure somebody has an issue. That the fire weapons button was on the top in season 7.
Yeah, there's at least one guy hanging out and he's wearing a Starfleet insignia on his shirt and he's screaming, "Consarn it! How did they mess this up?"
Yeah, how did they mess this thing up? It's all wrong. Okay, but I'm sure there's just. But to me, they did a really great job. Yeah. It's really painstakingly represented. But I bet Geordi's going to be running engineering from the bridge. You know what I mean?
Maybe
it kind of takes me out of it a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe they'll have him in engineering, and that would be amazing. But it just kind of takes me out of it to think they're back on the Enterprise D. But because I know how these shows work, I'm they recreated the set of Enterprise D, which is amazing. But now, where's the rest of the set? Are we gonna see him go into his ready room? Are we gonna see them go to the other locations that are beloved? Is it just the bridge? If it's just the bridge, I'm happy. But it will somehow take me out of it a little bit. I'm because I just know it's so expensive to do. It's one of the things they always talk about, having to amortize, and it's worth it for one. It's worth it for this. I think it's very much worth it, even if they only use it for one episode. It's worth it. But I'm sort of hopeful that this could be used on another show or something, because it's really cool to have it back.
Yeah, I am not entirely sure they created it. It may be in some sort of fan event or something.
Oh, right.
Or in some sort of museum or something. Things like that happen. And for instance, in the TNG episode Relics, when Scotty gets drunk and goes to the holodeck to see the bridge of the original Enterprise, that was literally a museum display that they borrowed.
Right. Yeah. I thought about that as I was watching it. And that maybe this is like you said, I think there's a few of those around where people have recreated the bridge and they charge money to get in and stuff like that, take pictures. And it's very possible that's what this is. But either way, it's beautiful. I love it. It just, I wonder if they'll be able to have more of it. We'll see the rest of the ship, stuff like that. It makes me curious.
That was one of those things that I saw a lot of people online going what's in Bay 12? What's in Bay 12? It's got to be the Enterprise D. And I was I didn't even notice that there was a Bay 12. So I was I'm not going to bring that up on the show, just in case other people like me were I don't know, what?
Yeah.
And you too. If I, I was yeah, okay. It's probably the Enterprise D in Bay 12.
Yep. Yeah, it was. It definitely was. It was really, really cool. Okay, but that's one big part of this episode. And that's the ending, and that's beautiful, and I'm so glad it happened. I love to see it. But the other big part is it's the Borg, man. We discussed this.
Yep.
You literally laid out the theory last week of Locutus and Vox, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you had that lined up, and I've been saying all this time that it was going to have something to do with the Aromatic syndrome being passed down. We even talked about it being something to do with his Borg. Last week we laid this out. This exact case.
We did.
So I feel good. I feel good about our predictive abilities, but also it was an idea I really liked.
Yeah.
So it seemingly doesn't have anything to do with the Pa-Wraith as of now.
As of now, but I mean, like, I swear, dude, like, after we got off the last episode, I was looking at pictures of Mushy Face, the hand face, and I was like, dude, they have the cranial ridges. It even looks like there's, like, the spoon shape. It looks like there's the jawline. Like, I think this bastard's Gul Dukat. Still could be. We don't know, but I doubt it at this point.
Well, it is something we don't know yet. Like, we still don't have who is that.
We don't.
And so that, I guess that reveal is still waiting. They did say that the changelings have apparently been working with the Borg since the beginning.
But that was from their perspective. They don't actually know exactly what's happening. Just like they were wrong earlier in the season. Like, we know what you're up to. And like Vadic's just sitting there grinning like, oh, you're dumb.
Yeah, we still don't know exactly. I mean, it's pretty clear what the Borg is up to, which they have assimilated Starfleet.
Right.
They've done it. Like, they did it, and I love the transporter thing, man. It's so good. It's such a great thing. There's been clues to it. I remember Rolaren wouldn't take the transporters because she knew something was up with them. She knew something was going on, but didn't have all the pieces yet. So much fun. It's so much fun that we talked about maybe they're like swapping them out for changelings or something when they use the transporters. We did not talk about them like implanting Borg receivers in their brain.
It was one of those things like big that the one piece where like Geordi says they've been assimilating the entire fleet the whole time and we didn't know. Like, I could actually hear you laugh with excitement.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Like, just like kind of cluing into like little bits that you would like really enjoy. I'm like, oh, Matt's gonna love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Same for you, man. When they were running their fingers across them consoles, I was like, oh, Dave's loving this.
No, I love it.
Dave's loving seeing this like fully realized 3D model of the Enterprise D like flying around. Oh yeah, I did. And Enterprise F, we got this episode. Like, we actually got to see it on screen.
I was really excited to see Admiral Shelby, and although I know it was like them hanging the lantern with like Picard being like, ironic that she's the one that that she would be the one who was in favor of this integrated Borg fleet because she was the Borg expert in Best of Both Worlds.
Oh, okay, Gotcha. And he said that such a Borg-like tactic. I think it was maybe Riker said that. Interesting. Yeah, well, I think she's the Borg expert, so she would be the one who like saw the tactical advantage that the Borg have when they can move as one, and now she's implemented that into their fleet, and unfortunately the Borg have now commandeered that fleet and all their people. This is arguably worse than Wolf 359. Like, this is a big moment in Star Trek history. Like, we have lots of little season enders, season finales, season whatever. And like, they have effects, but like, Best of Both Worlds, Wolf 359 has been like a thing we go back to constantly in Star Trek because it's such a big moment for the fleet. And so many characters have had their like lives rocked by it, Yeah. And now we have an entire fleet worth of like 25-year-olds and younger going around killing all their elders. Like, that's a dark, dark thing to happen. And it's very possible they lost more people in this than they lost, and in such a terrible and brutal way too. It's not like the Borg, it's just not the Borg exactly coming in. It's like your own like young people start turning on you and killing everyone. Like, that's dark, man. Yeah,
it feels like a great allegory for life in general, Like, remember the Seinfeld bit where he's like talking about having a kid? He just had a baby at that point, and and he's like saying, like, everyone's like, so cute, look at him, he's so cute. The baby's just sitting there going, yeah, just wait, mofo.
Yeah,
I'm here to replace you.
You're joking about that, but also we were talking about how there were some disturbing allegories if you took them to their logical conclusions between like Seven of Nine and dead naming her and tying that like her real name is really her Borg name and the groomer thing and
especially with Seven of Nine, since she was taken as a child.
Yeah, so it's a dicey and like that's a dicey thing if you follow it to its conclusion like that. The thing I saw this episode was like, okay, a bunch of young people are deciding to follow this conformist ideology, and anyone that steps out of their woke ideology is going to get murdered. They better fall in line.
I thought about that
and
too.
All the old people are resisting it. I was like, okay, is this a right-wing show? I don't know. This is feeling a little right-wingy.
Yeah, is Terry Metalis right-wing? Is this
an allegory for like?
Oh my god!
Are the Borg the woke in this? Is that what's going on? And like the young people are like, yeah, resistance is futile. There aren't only two genders. I don't know. Like,
it's like every phaser blast sounds like okay, boomer, okay, boomer, okay, boomer.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I hope that's not the intention, but it definitely crossed my mind when you make all of the young people a mob of mindless drones. It's like, okay,
yeah.
And I know it's the Borg doing it from the outside, but still, it's like, okay,
that you previously set up as a trans allegory.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a little dicey.
So when the young of Starfleet start to, quiet quit, it gets a little dicey.
This is quiet quitting. I think they're doing more than quiet quitting, Dave. But no, so that was really a great turn, and it's a huge moment in Star Trek. It's huge. The other thing, I'm assuming this was all empowered by Jack joining the Borg, because he's the transmitter. That's what they kept saying.
We don't need. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I guess that would have to be what it was. Like,
but that's why they needed him so bad. So, like, I kept thinking, like, Jack. Oh, surely this will end by like Picard talks Jack down or something. But like, damage done. Like, Jack just turned himself over to the Borg and caused like probably one of the greatest casualty events in like Starfleet history. Like, this is pretty rough, man. Like father, like son, I guess.
I mean, I assume that we'll get all the young or most of the young people back who weren't killed.
Yeah, I would assume so too.
Since LaForge's daughters are involved.
Yeah, LaForge's daughters, all the crew that we've been getting to know this season, but also just like
we haven't gotten to know them.
Here and there.
I see people like crying for the Vulcan lady, the bald Vulcan lady, and I'm like, she got like 2 lines. Like,
well, people get attached. People get attached, and it's cool. I like that. We're getting like a little bit of time with these characters, just enough. It's like in Discovery. They do that a lot in Discovery, where it's like we've been with these people 6 seasons. They've said 6 lines, but like whatever. Like now we're starting to know who they are. At least they'll give them an episode.
Yeah. Like, so when they get shot at, you're like, not young Asian guy at the console in the back right.
Anyway, I thought that was all great. I'm concerned for Jack and his decision and like what it means. Is he just gone now? Is he just subsumed into the Borg? Are we going to see him again? There's got to be I think we've got to have another conversation between Picard and Jack. And I think Jack has to end up on the right side of this. But like, short of sacrificing himself to stop it, I don't see how you can undo what you've done. Like this is a bell that can't be unrung so easily. Yeah,
I mean, he probably can't undo it, but he can stop it from what's happening at this point. Like, Hope's speech through the transmitter.
Right.
But I'm very interested to see what they're doing with the Borg Queen, because the voice was Alice Krieg from First Contact. That was the original Borg Queen.
Right.
But they were very careful not to show her face.
Yeah.
Are we going to have like a Quark on the holodeck thing? Is it going to show the Borg Queen and Skull Ducat's face on the Borg Queen's body? I've been waiting for you.
Well, one line that really bothered me in this episode, me a lot, was the Borg have been quiet. No one's heard from them in a decade or something.
Yeah.
In decades, no one's heard from the Borg. Yeah, we did. Last season, the Borg attacked a huge fleet, remember? And took control of it.
Yeah, but that was the Geordi Borg. That was a different sect of Borg that didn't have anything to do with the original Borg. That was like a Borg that was created from an alternate past, basically, from their future events. Like even Shaw said it at the beginning of the season, and we should have paid attention to him. He was like, forget that weird Geordi Borg shit on the Stargazer. The real Borg are still out there.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yep. He said
interesting. That. Yeah, that they did not do a good job of explaining that last season.
No, they didn't.
Because it was like, I thought the whole idea was that she like took over the Borg way back when, so she's just like a different offshoot of the Borg.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, she couldn't take over the whole Borg all the way back then, otherwise it would create like even more changes in the future timeline. You wouldn't go back to your original timeline.
I agree, but that doesn't mean that they're going to do that right. You know what I mean? Time travel can be weird, and they might not do the right thing. But okay, that makes more sense. Like, I just kind of wish they'd explained that, because I've been concerned about that exact paradox ever since, and it hasn't been explained. And I guess Shaw kind of explained it, and we missed it. Okay, that line doesn't bother me as much anymore. I was just like, what are you talking about? I haven't seen the Borg. Yeah, we have. Like, we have specifically, but also the fleet saw them last season or whatever.
Right. Like, and they got the Borg Queen from like a Federation facility or whatever in season 2. So like she was disconnected from the hive.
Well, but yeah, in season 2 though, that was an alternate universe Borg Queen too.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're
that was like a totally different alternate universe. They had to go back and fix.
Man, season 2 was kind of complicated, huh?
Yeah, season 2 was kind of complicated. Okay, all right. I feel better about it. You've convinced me. All right.
It's easy when you want to.
Oh yeah. This episode's so good and so much fun, but I am, I'm concerned with how it's gonna all shake out, because like this is a big moment. I feel like this could launch 1,000 more episodes, just like Wolf 359 did.
Yeah.
This could be that big moment that like launches a lot more things, and I don't want them to like take that back or anything. I want them to like live in it, like let that be what happened. I don't want them doing some kind of crazy, we saw tachyons this episode. I don't want them trying to like do some time travel stuff to undo anything. This is a big moment, and let it be the big moment that it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I loved it. I think it's great. What else you got?
What else do I got?
What else you got, buddy?
I tell you,
those were my big points.
I loved when LaForge was like, Data, can you be a little more positive? And he's like, I hope we die quickly.
Me too. I thought they did some good work with Data this episode. They let him be Data a little bit more this episode. Like, I was a little concerned last episode when he just like became Brent Spiner. I was like, okay, he's not really even being Data anymore. He's just kind of Data with emotions, but not really. He's just being Brent Spiner. But this episode, he like actually acted like Data, and sort of like when he told Picard, such a great line when he told Picard, would you like me to comfort you, sir? It's very Data, and he's like, I don't think that's possible. And he says, and then it's the Data's emotions like really hit, and he goes, I know. And it's like, oh, now that feels good. That feels like it is Data. It's not like a different person. Yeah. It's still Data, still trying to connect with humanity, but sort of missing the mark. But then, like, he does. He, like, actually feels what Picard is feeling. He actually has some real empathy in that moment. And I really loved that.
But that I hope we die quickly. With that big smile on his face was totally like an encroachment of lore, I feel like. Just like a little bit of dark humor.
Kind of, yeah. But it also, like, I feel like that's... I don't even know if that's dark humor for him. Like, I don't know if it was self-awareness. That's what's so funny about that, is it's him being like... what is an honest thing I can say that's more positive? And he's like, I hope we die quickly. Like, and he's just like, that's the Data that I know and love. Like the Data who's trying to be a human, but he's just sort of missing it. You know, it just doesn't get it just right. And I thought Data was my favorite in this episode. Yeah, that we've seen him all season.
I loved like the little shade about where LaForge said, "Well, it's not like we could use the Enterprise E," and Worf is like, "That was not my fault."
Yeah, that was great.
I believe in the books, Worf was captain of the Enterprise E in some of them.
Yeah,
at the end of things.
So I'm assuming he was the captain when it went down, and he feels like weirdly defensive of it, and I think that's really funny. That was not my fault.
I loved this episode. I did.
Me too.
And I would love to see Wesley come back. I really would. You know, as a fan, I want all the things.
I would love to see Wesley back. And honestly, it would kind of make some sense if he has any connection to his human side, if he came back and like talked his brother down. Like they're both now like super beings. Mm-hmm. Jack is like Borg king with his ability to like transmit instructions to all these humans.
Yeah.
Man, they really had me go in this episode. It was like there's so many little clues. I love it. They did exactly they did the mystery right. They had a great plan, and as the mystery unfolded, like all these little pieces of the mystery just like worked perfectly. Yeah. And I love the fact that they're like, wait, if that's how he's transmitting, then how are they receiving? Those people were never assimilated. How are they receiving? Mm-hmm. And that's when they realize the other part. Like it's just good. It's good stuff, man. They
did a great thing where like throughout the season they put in foreshadowing and little clues, like you said. Mm-hmm. And it's stuff that I wouldn't have there was so much going on, I forgot about a lot of it.
Yeah.
Until I really started like, digging in online and like, looking at stuff and like, oh yeah, that did happen. Oh yeah, that did happen. I've really enjoyed it. I've really I'm excited to see what else they have in store for us. I really suspect we'll get Wesley, honestly, because Beverly has now twice mentioned that she lost us Wesley to the stars. She gave him space and she lost him to it or whatever. I suspect we'll see him again.
Well, and we kind of know what Wesley's doing. He's like going throughout and like fixing parts of the timeline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if like this is a moment where the Borg are about to assimilate Starfleet and he needs to step in?
Yeah,
could work, and it could be like great because he also has the personal connection to all of them. But like he's really just doing his job, as it were,
Mm-hmm.
Doing his weird god job or whatever.
Yeah, he's Gary Sevening.
Yeah, whatever that means.
You don't know what that means?
I do.
Then why do you act like you don't?
No,
you hurt me. You're trying to hurt me.
It was not my intention to hurt you.
How much did you love hearing Majel Barrett as the computer on the Enterprise D?
Oh, yeah, that was great. That was great. Just hearing it all, man. And they've been doing a lot of stuff. They're bringing in all the sort of like discovery sounds that sort of like sample the sounds from across the Trek. There's that boatswain whistle or whatever that we're always hearing is like old school Trek, but like they use it on all the ships now. But it was nice just to get back with this crew on the Enterprise D and like, oh, all the sounds just sound like Enterprise D.
Yeah,
This
even the
feels
lighting,
good.
like
Yeah.
they walked onto that bridge and suddenly, like it was that even television lighting that everyone's been whining about. And I wonder, I know that like early on in production, they released pictures of the Titan Bridge, and a whole bunch of people were bitching that it was like shiny hardwood or hard surface floors, and they missed the carpet. So, like, Picard's statement that he missed the carpet was just like a nice little, I feel like a nod to, like, angry fans complaining.
That's funny. I didn't know about those complaints. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, for some reason, carpet on the Enterprise floor or in Starfleet ship floors is like Superman fans arguing about trunks or no trunks. Like, people care. I don't get it. I just want whatever thing I saw on screen to be represented the same way.
Yeah. Oh gosh. How much fun was that? It was a good time. It was a really good time. How do you think this is ending? How do you think this is going to wrap up?
I honestly don't know. I have so many, like, because of how they have structured the reveal of the Borg Queen, I suspect that there's still some twist. Maybe they're being like hinting that it's Alice Krieg again. Because she hasn't been the Borg Queen since the finale of Voyager. And she wasn't the Borg Queen in most of Voyager. Most of Voyager was Susanna Thompson. So I don't know if that's like they're just like wanting to hold off on the reveal that it's like First Contact's Borg Queen, or if it's like some other character, like,
right?
You know, it's Jeffrey Combs. You know, is Wei Yun. Someone pointed out that the last time we saw Elnor, he was stationed on the Excelsior, so that means he's probably dead now.
Oh no. Well, he also would have been a Borg, so like it adds insult to injury.
Yeah.
He like turned into a Borg for his last moments, and then they blew him up.
Or they could always say that, like, because he was like, we've retaken Excelsior. And then, you know, he might still be, like, alive as a Borg, and they may have, like, transported him off. I'm trying not to think three-dimensionally as the Borg Queen complained that Picard did.
It's also, like, it's very easily they could have done something in the in-between times since last season.
Sure. They could bring him back if they wanted.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. I thought it sounded familiar, and I looked it up, and there was a character in The Return, the novel, The Return by William Shatner and Judith and Garfield Reeves Stevens. There was a Borg character named Vox.
Oh.
So I'm sure that's a little reference to that, because Terry Matalas, we now know, loves that shit.
Yeah, it's so funny that he's a fan of The Return, and we've been referencing it so much.
Mm-hmm.
They did it, though. You know what? They, like, made the Borg really imposing again.
Yeah.
Like, because the Borg is just a totally different thing. The fact that the Borg has, like... This felt... Like, a lot of times when they bring back the Borg, it's like, oh, it's the Borg again. Like, that's how it's felt since Voyager, basically.
Mm-hmm.
This felt like the Daleks coming back on Doctor Who. You know what I mean?
It depends on which time. Because, there are those times where
one
it's
of the
like,
good times.
Yeah. Well, the Borg and the Daleks and the Cybermen, they're all the same in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes it just feels a little cheap.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, but when they do it right and you don't expect them, and it's like, oh, it's them. And they have some great plan that they've devised decades ago, and it's coming together, and they've really got our characters in the box, and I have no idea how one Galaxy-class starship is going to take on the entirety of the Borg fleet and Starfleet, but, like, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. I tell you, I'm a little concerned, because, one, I'm wondering if Terry Matalas has been amping up this Star Trek Legacy hashtag for a future series. I'm wondering if he's using that to, like, as a red herring to disguise the fact that he kills a whole bunch of people. Because, I mean, they killed Shaw.
Yeah,
and I was very against that. I was like, no, but I loved his like come to seven moment.
I liked his come to seven moment, but like, I also really like, it was something beautiful and really sad about him finally dying to the Borg.
Mm-hmm.
Because he like has had the survivor's guilt for so long, and him laying on the floor and the Borg just reemerged and killed him. It's been like he's been fearing this and also expecting it for 30 years. Yeah. And it just like emerged and got him. Like, it's really sad.
Heading back to is this Star Trek Right Wing, the incredibly paranoid asshole who thinks that the enemy is going to come back actually came back and gets him killed.
I don't know if I'd call that right wing, but
oh my god,
I feel like that's just a human nature thing.
They're coming for our guns so they could take us easier.
Yeah. Well, but it is sort of like his the way I think what you mean, and not so much that the enemy's coming back, but the like his
all of his fears were true.
Yeah. His fears, but also his like what's the word I'm looking for? His prejudice against Seven, his prejudice against all things Borg. Mm-hmm. Sure enough, the Borg caught up with him, you know. But in that last moment, he sees Seven is not Borg, you know, like she's not the same. Not all Borg, not everyone who's had a Borg experience or whatever is evil, you know, or whatever. Even though
tell that to Ensign Lynch.
I will.
I'm just going to keep saying that.
I'll let him know. All right. Well, I feel good. I'm really excited about the next episode. And I know we're going to do another midweek podcast with feedback. So send in feedback, guys. StarTrekUcast@gmail.com. Tell us what you think of this episode, and also what you think might be coming in the finale. Well, maybe
get it in quick.
Spin a yarn and figure this one out like we figured out last week's.
Yeah, just slip it in quick. Mm-hmm. I know a few of you have already sent us stuff, but I need everyone to tell us what you think is going to happen. Peel back the folds of your foreskin.
All right.
I don't know what I'm saying.
It wouldn't be an episode of Star Trek Ucast if Dave didn't go too far at least once.
I have to.
We'll be back soon. Joel on True.
Live long and prosper.
Make me pull the ripcord on this episode.
Your face. Your face.
Don't act like that's not why you do it.
Oh, it's absolutely why I do it.
Thank you for listening to the Star Trek Universe Podcast, a Stranded Panda production. If you'd like to hear more from David C. Robertson, check out the DC On Screen podcast or maladjusted.tv for his web videos. If you'd like to hear more from Matthew Carroll, check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or listen to his music. Just search for Matthew Carroll anywhere you get music.